What's up, everybody? Welcome into a solo edition of SSPN. But as y'all can see by the title and what I got right next to me here on the stream, is that we're just going to be doing a little bit of a draft odds breakdown today. We're going to be doing a little bit of a breakdown of the lottery, just giving a little bit of an update because we're about a month and a half away from the draft lottery. If you guys watched the stream last night that me and Ethan did, recapping the Jazz game, another unfortunate L where the Spurs fall apart in the fourth quarter. Go check that out if you haven't yet. We also reminisce a lot on Luka because he came to San Antonio last night. But we mentioned how, once again, it was March 29th last night. Today it's March 30th. We're about a month and a half away because it's almost April coming up this Saturday. And then we'll be literally a month and a half away. So basically, we're about 2 days from it being a month and a half away. But that's besides the point. Y'all see the draft lottery odds beside me. And so, this is something that I guess I didn't think too much about at first. And that's just mainly that the Spurs have a 26% chance at the number 6 pick, which is unfortunate. But that's just the way that the NBA works. The positive that I try to make out of it is even though the Spurs have that little 7% there at 7, at least the Spurs don't have two 20+% chances at 5 or 6, which is what the Rockets have right now with the second best odds. And then, of course, if you have the first, you basically have almost a near 50% chance at the number 5 pick, which is what you don't want because in all of these positions, you have a 14% chance at the number 1 pick, which is what you do want. But this graph and this chart from Tankathon, shout out to them, really just puts everything into perspective here for the Spurs. And we're going to do just a little sim for you guys to kind of show you what potentially can happen with this. So we'll go to the NBA home here, just making sure it looks good for y'all. All right, we'll go ahead and sim the lottery. And so, look, this is a good one for the Spurs. But as you can see, Orlando jumps up 5 picks and gets the number 1 back-to-back years with the 32-44 record. And this isn't even a bad scenario for the Spurs. They had a 9.7% chance at number 1 overall. It all just comes down to the ping pong balls. And, that is just the nature of the NBA. It would be nice if this was the NFL and the Spurs, or I guess it wouldn't be the Spurs, it would be Detroit, would be guaranteed the number 1 pick. Houston would have the number 2, and then San Antonio would have the number 3. But I guess, when you think about it that way, it works out a little bit in the Spurs' favor because then they can jump up to number 1 or number 2. But then also there's that chance that they go down to number 6 or number 7. So that's the draft lottery at its finest. I'll just do a couple more for you guys just to give you a little bit of an example of it. So here's one that works out really well for the Spurs. But even though the Spurs get number 1 in this one, Dallas jumps up 8 spots to number 3. I mean, obviously, this is just a computer simulation, but you guys have seen the craziness in the draft before. San Antonio got lucky when they got Timmy. They got lucky when they got David. In so many of those scenarios, other teams, I mean, you can go back to the Cavs with David Griffin when they got the Andrew Wiggins number 1 pick that they obviously ended up trading. You can even go to David Griffin with the Pelicans. It seems like number 1 picks just follow him around. But those are 2 examples of kind of teams jumping up into that scenario. I mean, obviously everybody was gunning for it, but it all just depends on how the lottery goes. Here's another example, right? So this is where San Antonio stays right where they're at. We're getting Dallas in here a lot. I don't like that. But Charlotte jumps up to number 1 here. And Detroit and Houston get the short end of the stick with Indiana moving up to number 4. So I could sit here on Tankathon and do this all day for you guys. But I think in the 5 minutes we've been sitting here together, you guys kind of get the picture of what potentially could happen. So tell me what your guys' thoughts are just on the Spurs draft lottery situation, what you're hoping for on May 16th, and what you think, like how the Spurs should approach the rest of the season. Do you think that they're trying to keep getting losses with these guys, staying out, and maybe they're trying to move up? Should we try to move up into those number 2 odds, to eliminate the number 7, or would you rather roll and stay at number 3? Right where the Spurs are right now, because them and the Rockets, they're only 1 game apart of each other. So it's kind of interchangeable there. You see the pros and cons of having both. Like if we go back to the little chart we had up earlier here with the pick odds, you could say that The pro for being in the number 2 position is that you're not going to get, you have no chance of getting number 7. But then the con is you have a 20% chance of getting 5 or 6, where you would rather, you have a 26% chance at getting number 6 in the Spurs position. So that's the con, right? Yes, technically you don't have, the majority of your odds aren't in 5 or 6 overall, but at the same time, the highest percentage chance is you get that number 6, which is outside of the top 5, which this is really where the Spurs want to be. And really, with the way the season has gone, they want to be in that top 3 position. But all those odds are the same, regardless of where you are in the bottom 3. Really, well, through 1 through 4 is the same. So all that changes is this. I will say the good news for the Spurs is they're not in the Detroit position. And I know that sounds crazy, but I think when you guys look at these two, you'd rather have these 3 odds than a dang near 50% chance at number 5 if you're the worst team in the league. I would rather have these two. So I would say that the Spurs are in good position there, which is why I hope they can get one more win. So just in case any craziness happens, I doubt it will with Detroit, but just in case any craziness happens, that they, stay in either the number 2 or the number 3. I definitely think that's better than the number 1 spot when it comes to having the highest potential odds at the number 1 pick. But tell me what y'all think. I was kind of just rambling on about this. But wanted to put some content out for you guys, and this is the most relevant thing. So, as the season progresses, we'll continue to monitor this. If the Spurs change spots, maybe I'll do another one. Just come on here, do a couple quick little sims, and y'all can tell me what you guys think. So tell me what you think of the draft lottery, all the craziness of it, and the Spurs chances. Appreciate y'all. Catch y'all on the next one.